Shalom, shalom. Yabalakakah, Bashman, Bahasham, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah. Giving all praises to the Abanaw, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah. And all praise to the Most High. I have been making videos for a few days because my equipment was a little older and it failed on me. So, more praise to the Most High that I was able to get something else to work with. So, that's why I haven't put up that Proverbs Chapter 4. Salakia. So I'm going to get back to it, get things rolling again, and I'm going to be doing some things as far as Hebrew and bringing out lessons and Most High will, all the other things that I used to do as far as garments and music and beaded jewelry and all that. Most High will. So like this. So yeah. I also want to say donations are welcome. You know, if any brothers and sisters want to help the brothers, Saints of Yahweh Shah out to get things moving as far as getting equipment, you know, getting better quality music and things of that nature. And, you know, I even plan on, most I will, get in a building to open a school. So, most I will, all those things come into play. But if anyone would like to give any donations, you can email me at tazamayasha'Allah@gmail.com. That's TAZMACHYAHLA@gmail.com. Or just sharing the videos, you know, so we get more followers that way and be able to monetize. But well, anyway, let me get get right into it. First, I'm gonna play my brother Yahweh Shah, World War III, a little bit of his song right quick, featuring Bon Yahweh, my brothers from Columbus. I'll play a little bit of this. So like, yeah. Wars and rumors of wars. Okay, America just dropped the bomb on according to the popular opinion of the Third World War. The Bible prophesied World War One, World War Two, and World War Three. So we saw World War One, we saw World War Two. What makes you think that we're not going to see World War Three? Read that. Wait for a second. Come on. My brother Howard Shah. So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into Proverbs Chapter 4, first, I want to ask, but now Yahweh, Bashman Basham Mashiach Yahushua, Father, I ask that you guide and lead me, let your spirit give my mouth words to say, and let your word come across the way you intended to, and not the way that I intended to, and that you let wisdom, knowledge flow from our vessel, that others may get understanding. Hashem Yahushua. Amen. Hallelujah. So, Proverbs Chapter 4, verse 1 says, "Hear ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding." So right off the bat, talking about hearing, say, "Hear ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding." So it's telling us right off top to get understanding, get knowledge, get wisdom. With all I get understanding, right? So I want to go to First Thessalonians 2:11-12. First Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 11 and 12. It says, "As ye know how we exhorted and comforted and charged every one of you as a father doth his children, that ye would walk worthy of the Most High, who hath called you unto his kingdom and glory." So we're being exhorted and comforted, in order to walk worthy of the Most High, because like the scripture say, he has called us to his kingdom and his glory. All glory goes to the Most High when we walk as he wants us to walk, and do accordingly. Walk as he wants us to walk, in our examples, and letting that light shine to the world. We're going to Psalms 34:11. Psalms 34 and verse 11 says, "Come ye children, hearken unto me. I will teach you the fear of Yahweh." See, and that's what we have to learn, is the fear of Yahweh, because if we don't have the fear of Yahweh, then we won't want to do we won't be moved to do the things as far as keep the commandments. And I know some people might say that, okay, we could want to keep the commandments out of love, but you have a certain fear even within that love, the fear of disappointing your father. On the other side, the fear of what he will do to you if you don't do what he says. So you have that fear on both sides. Go to Proverbs Chapter 1, verse 8. Says, "My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother." Right? Read verse 9. "For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck." Right? So when I think about this, an ornament of grace, the things that we have been instructed in our mind, it will get us grace from the Most High. We walk in certain ways that we have been taught. by our parents, right? And it says, train up a child in the way that they should walk, right? And then when you think about chains about thy neck, in Sirach, there's a scripture that says, if you spit on a fire, it will put it out, and if you blow on it, it will make it bigger. And both of these come from the mouth, right? So from our mouth comes things for upbuilding or tearing down, things that cause peace or destruction, right? So when we have that chain, that's that discretion of knowing when to speak and when not to speak, and how to speak, right? So I want to go to Salakia. Salakia, that's it for the precepts on that verse. Proverbs Chapter 4 verse 2 says, "For I give you good doctrine, forsake not my law." So it says, "I give you good doctrine, forsake not my law." And even Yahweh Shah said, when he was called good master, he said, "There's none good but the Most High." And if we're talking about good doctrine, and the doctrine being the word, the commandments of the Most High, that's coming from him, so that doctrine would indeed be good. So let's go to Sirach 19, verse 19. Chapter 19, verse 19. And it reads, Sirach or Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 19, verse 19. "The knowledge of the commandments of Yahweh is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality." Khan. And I want to go to a couple other scriptures. You know what? I'll go ahead and get that. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 2. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Verse 2. All right, so it says, "I'll give you good doctrine, forsake not my law." And this is Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 2. It reads, "My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass." Now, when I'm thinking about this, right, it's talking about when you're looking at the tender herb, right? You think about the tender herb, it's something that's weak that needs to be built up to strength, and then it'll be able to endure harder rain, right? So when I think about this, I'm thinking about as far as doctrine, because that's what it's talking about, as showing an example through something that we can identify with, which is the herb and the rain, things that we can physically see. So I think about that. I think about the scriptures, right? And You know, like the scripture talks about the sincere milk, right? And how we're supposed to be on milk until we grow to maturity, right? Until we grow to maturity. So it's like a child. A child has to be on milk and soft things until they can grow teeth and, you know, are able to chew on the meat, because it's harder to deal with, harder to digest. So their organs have to have a little time to grow, to be a little stronger and all that. So, you know, I'm gonna get was it First Peter 2:2 real quick. It says, as newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. And that's the thing, you have to, you know, with that milk, whether it be breast milk or, you know, milk that you buy or whatever, then the child has to grow, you know, have time to grow. Like I was saying, from that to let organs build and get a little stronger, bones get a little stronger, you know, growing teeth and all that, so that they can be able to handle the meat, handle digesting that, having a way to get it into their body, which is by chewing with the teeth. So it has to be where they have to have time to grow, and in the meantime they have to have the milk to help them grow, because they have to have something to help you grow. You can't just come out and start, you know, walking and talking automatically. You know, you have to develop these things, and this is what it is with the word. We have to have time to develop in the word. And that's why it says, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk. Right, so let me read that again in Deuteronomy 32 and 2. It says, my doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, as the showers upon the grass. And, you know, even the dew, that's just something that sits there, right? That's just something that sits there, and you think about that rain dropping on the tender plant. It says, it's like it says the small rain, right? So we figure like we getting the word in small amounts, small portions. Like children, they can't eat a full course meal. They have to have something like every couple of hours, something like that, in small portions, right? And so that small rain, or that doctrine dropping upon us as that small rain, we get things in portions and give it time to process, right? So I don't want to stay on that point too long, but the point is that we have to have small portions of things, light things, until we can handle those heavier things. And that's what it's talking about, desiring a sincere milk, you know, coming as babes to the word, being ready to learn, ready to be taught, right? Sirach 24:32. Sirach 24:32 reads, I will yet make doctrine to shine as the morning, and will send forth her light afar off. Right? So it's going to make light to shine as the morning, and to send as the light afar off. Right? Let's get this. Salakia, 1 second. Salakia, 1 second. Not clear about that. So, again, what it's saying, so like this. So it's talking about, so like that, 1 second. 24 and 32 says, I will yet make doctrine to shine as the morning, and will send forth her light afar off. So, you know, it's talking about doctrine, right? Shining as the morning, and it talks about we're supposed to be a light to all, a light to the world, light to all the nations, right? And it says that send forth light, her light afar off. So when we get into where it talks about we were scattered, you know, to all of it, we were scattered. So this is how the light is going to get, the light is going to shine forth, to the light will be sent forth afar off, as it says, because we are going to be everywhere. So that light is going to shine everywhere, right? So that's what that's talking about. When we get to like I had a point I wanted to make, so I could, when we get back into Sirach 19 and 19, like when we get into Sirach 19 and 19, it says, the knowledge of the commandments of Yahweh is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. So, the tree of immortality. Right? So when we get into talking about pleasing the Most High, so we do the things that please him, which we know is his doctrine, commandments, laws. But we can get to it when we go to Sirach chapter 2, and we can start at verse 16. It says, they that fear Yahweh will seek that which is well pleasing unto him. They that love him shall be filled with the law, right? So we're going to do those things that are well pleasing to him. So we have to find out what's well pleasing to him, right? And we know it's talking about it says which is well pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with his law. So it's talking about loving him. It's a continuance of the sentence, right? So what's well pleasing to him, and they that love him shall be filled with his law. So if we love him, we're going to want to do the things that's well pleasing to him, right? And it says that if you love me, keep my commandments, right? So that's what the scriptures say. So we're going to be filled with the law if we want, because that's what's well pleasing to him. That's what pleases him when we obey him. And the law is what he wants us to follow. So, you know, we know that that's what he expects of us. That's what's well pleasing unto him. Now, another thing we can go to is in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 16. And it reads, but to do good and to communicate forget not, for with such sacrifices the Most High is well pleased. Now, let's check this out, right? He says to do good, right? And to communicate. He says, I give you good doctrine, right? We read that. I give you good doctrine, forsake not my law. We just read that in Proverbs, what's that, 4? Proverbs 4 and 2, right? Con. Proverbs 4 and 2. I give you good doctrine, forsake not my law. So it says in Hebrews 13 and 16, but to do good and to communicate, forget not. For with such sacrifices, the Most High is well pleased. So it's saying it's a sacrifice to do good. Because what he says, obedience is better than sacrifice. So when you are communicating, that is part of obeying him, right? Because let's get this. When you go to Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 9, I believe. Chapter 9, verse 15, right? It says, let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High. So once again, it goes back to what's well-pleasing to him. You know, and he says, your communication, it says to do good and to communicate. Forget not, for with such sacrifices, the Most High is well-pleasing. If we're communicating in the law, as it says, Sirach 9 and 15, let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High. So anything you want to communicate, whether it be about marital problems, whether it be about how to rear your children, whether it be about dealing with violence, dealing with matters of how to go about seeking a wife, whether it be with matters of dealing with livestock, how to repay somebody if you stole something for them, whether it be with what's doing right on the Sabbath. You know, all these things, the law has an answer for every problem that we have. It may not speak specifically, but it will tell you in a general manner in certain things. For instance, let's say if we want to know whether it's right or wrong to steal from somebody that has stole from you. Okay, it says, scripture said, turn the other cheek. It says, vengeance belongs to the Most High. It says, love thy neighbor as thyself. All these things will show you, and even thou shalt not steal. But now to the main one that shows you that just because somebody does something to you doesn't mean you should do it to them, right? So even though it may not say specifically, oh, if somebody steals from me, shall I steal from them? You know that it says thou shalt not steal, period. So that would be your answer, that it doesn't matter what the circumstance is, that you shouldn't do it. You know, it does tell you if it happens, you're to repay, you know, a certain amount to that person that you stole from. So just in case it does happen, it tells you how to handle, you know, that situation. We're getting back to this. It says, let all thy communication be in the law of the Most High. So anything, so we'll be doing good, right, by doing that, and we'll be communicating and doing good by counseling or, you know, coming to grips of what the situation is and how to handle it by dealing in the law, right? So yeah, let our talk be with the wise all the communication in the law of the Most High. You know, the doctrine is good, which is the law, which is what he tells us all our communication should be in, and it's being obedient. These are sacrifices because the Most High says he desires obedience rather than sacrifice, right? So we understand that. Let's get back to Proverbs Chapter 4, verse 3 says, For I was, Salah, my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also and said unto me, Let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments, and live. Verse 5, get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. So let's get James 1 and 5. James chapter 1, verse 5. It reads, If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So if you want wisdom, just ask the Most High. Now, of course, there's certain things that the Most High shows and tells us in his scriptures what we are supposed to do in order to get this wisdom, but it is possible to get by asking the Most High, and he tells you how you are to go about getting it. So I want to go to Sirach and the Apocrypha 11 and 15. Chapter 11, verse 15 says, Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are of Yahweh. Love and the way of good works are from him. So this comes from the Most High, so he's the one that has to give it to you, right? Let's go to Sirach 15, chapter 15, verse 1 through 3. Says, He that feareth Yahweh will do good, and he that hath knowledge of the law shall obtain her. And as a mother shall she meet him, and receive him as a wife married of a virgin. With the bread of understanding shall she feed him, and give him the water of wisdom to drink. Right? So, it says that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. So that word is bread, right? And it says with the bread of understanding. So when we're reading the scriptures, wisdom gives us understanding of what we're reading. So that's the bread, the spiritual bread, right, that we eat. And when we go to talk about and give him the water of wisdom to drink, so we know that Yahweh Shai, he talks about come and drink life's water free, and with Yahweh Shai came a deeper understanding of the law, which would be that wisdom, because he gave us understanding on how to walk in the law, understanding that it is possible to do it, understanding what certain things meant that we didn't readily understand, right? So Yahweh came with that wisdom as well. And he gave us that living water, that water that is free, right? And that water from that which if we receive, we would never thirst again. So I want to go to Salakia. Point I want to bring out 11 and 15. Say wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the law of love, good works, come from him. That's where I wanted to go. So Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus 1 and 26, because we were talking about, I was speaking about how, it says that if any man want wisdom, ask the Most High, who gives liberally to all men, right? And it should be given. And I'm saying this to say that, yes, you can go ask him, but he also tells you what you must do in order to get this, right? The Most High has, what I like to say, prerequisites. Like they have in college, you have certain things that you have to do in order to get to the next level, right? So when we talk about getting wisdom from the Most High, as I said, wisdom, knowledge, and all these things come from the Most High. So Sirach 1 and 26, it says, if thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and Yahweh shall give her unto thee. Right? So you must keep the commandments. It says you can ask the Most High, but the Most High said, okay, I'll give you wisdom, but you have to keep the commandments. Right? It says, verse 27, for the fear of Yahweh is wisdom and instruction, and faith and meekness are his delight. So it says the fear of Yahweh. We're talking about fear, maybe fear out of love, or just fear out of what can happen to you. You know what I mean? So to fear him is to be wise. Because I look at it like this. Once you fear him, that's going to move you to want to do what he says. And he says if you do what he says, which is keep the commandments, then he'll give you wisdom. Right? And you're going to do that if you fear him. You're going to do what he says. So that's what I want to bring. Let's go to Psalms 1, chapter 111, verse 10 really quick. Verse 10. Slocking. Psalms chapter 111, verse 10 says, the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever. So we get understanding, right, when we do his commandments. And to fear the fear the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. So we go back to Proverbs chapter 4, verse 6. It says, forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor when thou dost embrace her. God, let's go to, says, exalt her, and she shall promote thee. So, you know, you exalting her, exalting wisdom, let's say your understanding, you exalting the commandments because of the understanding, you speaking about it with passion, you wanting to tell people what you learned, this, that, and the third, and let's say maybe what you learn about how to get wisdom and what wisdom is and how wisdom works. You know, all these things says she will promote you, right? It says, forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee, right? Because wisdom, when you're dealing with wisdom, and looking at the way she will preserve you, you have to keep the commandments in order to get wisdom. And commandments is, keeping the commandments is life, right? Because you're going against sin. It says, the wages of sin are death. So, so with that, if you're going doing the opposite of sinning, which is keeping the commandments, is life. And actually, I'll just go ahead and go to that scripture real quick right now. This is Baruch. It's like Baruch in the Apocrypha, chapter 4, verse 1 says, "This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die." I read one more verse. Says, verse 2, "Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, and that thou mayest be illuminated." So said, walk in the presence of the law that you may be illuminated, right? That you may be increased in knowledge, that you may be able to shine, because you know that illumination means to be enlightened. You know what I'm saying? And by that you can be a light to other people, because if you're enlightened with this knowledge that's not of the world, but that's of the Most High, which is a higher knowledge of what other people know, then you're going to shine as a light, because people are going to be attracted to you because of the knowledge that you have, right? So verse 8 in Proverbs chapter 4 says, "Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor when thou dost embrace her." Get Psalm 75, verse 6 and 7. Psalm 75, verse 6 and 7 says, "For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another." Con. You know, and it's just like with when you go to David and how he was brought up, and how you know, King Saul was brought down, right? The Most High set those things up. He had set David up in a way to where he was being trained up to take that position, right? And he was bringing Saul down, right? So, and then even when you think about our people, when we go into the laws and Deuteronomy, right? And you go into Deuteronomy 28, right? And it talks about how if we kept the laws, we would be above all nations and we would get all these blessings. But if we broke the laws and served other gods and all these things, that we will be brought down very low and we would inherit all these curses and we would be the tail and not the head, right? And we've been through both of those. But it's just another example of how, the Most High is the judge and he is the one that brings one up or brings one down, or exalts one and brings another down. Let's go to Sirach 33, verse 12. Sirach, or Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, chapter 33, verse 12, and it reads, some of them have he blessed and exalted, and some of them have he sanctified and set near himself, but some of them have he cursed and brought low and turned out of their places. Right? And when he talks about turned out of their places, it'll be ones that he had exalted and he had to bring them down low and bring them out of their places for going against what he says. Right? So I want to go to Psalm 75, verse 10. Psalm chapter 75. Verse 10 says, all the horns of the wicked also will he cut off. Also will I cut off. But the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. So you're doing righteously, you're going to be exalted. You're going to be given better positions. Like even when you go into the parable where it talks about the talent, and there was a certain person that buried his talents, the Most High will take talents from one man that has few talents and give it to a man that has 10, I believe it says, because he's bearing fruit from what the Most High gave him, as opposed to the other man who's not doing anything with what the Most High gave him at all. Right? So, go to Proverbs Chapter 4, verse 9 says, she shall give to thine head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory. She shall deliver to thee. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, and the years of thy life shall be many. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in right paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened. And when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. And that's, go back to Baruch 4:1 again, where it says, this is the book. Let me go ahead and get it. I don't want to say any wrong words. Baruch Chapter 4, verse 1 says, this is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Right? And Psalms chapter 1, verse 1 through 6. Now we're talking about taking fast hold of instruction and keeping that instruction, because it is our life. So we're going to Psalms chapter 1, and we're going to do the whole 1 through 6. It says, blessed is a man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of Yahweh, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff, which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For Yahweh knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. So we know that we are speaking on taking fast hold of instruction because it's our life. And, like it's saying here in verse 6, for the Most High know the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. And it says in Proverbs Chapter 4 and 1, it says, such as leave the law shall die. But it's this is the book. Salaki, let's go through this right here. It says, this is the book of the commandment of the Most High, the law that endure forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. And that's Proverbs Chapter 4 and 1. And this Psalms, we're talking about Psalms chapter 1 through 6. We're talking about having delight in the law, meditating on it day and night. And when we do, being like a tree that has a lifeline constantly flowing to it, has a source of life that it is planted right by. So it's constantly getting fed and nourished and nurtured. You know what I mean? So this is what we want with the law, statutes, and commandments. This is what we have. A line, a lifeline, a source that is going to keep us alive. A constant battery and recharge for when we feel drained by the ways of the world, by the things of the world, rather. So that's an important thing to think about. Let's go here to verse 14 of Proverbs chapter 4. Says, enter not into the path of the wicked. The way that is going to be destroyed by the Most High, the way that is the opposite of keeping the law, which is what brings us to life, right? But the wicked is the ones that leave the law and that are going to die, as Baruch chapter 4 and 1 says. Go to Proverbs chapter 1 verse 10, and it reads, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Don't consent, don't agree if they try to entice you to do wrong, what you know to be against the laws of the Most High, against the will of the Most High. 15, Proverbs 4 and 15, avoid it, pass not by it. Salakia, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. It says avoid it. Pass not by it. Don't even go past it. Turn away from it. Walk the other direction. The Most High, this is how serious the Most High is saying, and he know how cunning the adversary can be. He does not even want you. He says avoid it. Don't even go around it. This is what the Most High is saying, because he knows how we are susceptible to fall. We are not above falling. This is why it says a righteous man falls 7 times but get back up. Because the Most High know we are susceptible to that. We are not incapable of falling. This is why he said avoid that path. Don't pass by that path. Turn from it and pass away. He says, go the other direction. You know how when Lot's wife, he told us, don't even look at it. Turn from it, right? That's what he said. That's what he told Lot's wife. And what did it do? It destroyed her. That's an example of us looking behind us to the wickedness that we once used to be involved in, and how it can destroy us and how it's able to pull us back in, right? So it's saying, verse 16, Proverbs 4:16, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. Right? And we know this is what Hashatan wants. This is what he does. He says he appears as an angel of light. So he may even appear to your old homeboys like, all right, why don't you just come kick it out? Come out and kick it with us for a minute. We don't got to go to no club or nothing. We know you into the truth. We ain't got to be around that type of thing. We could just go have a couple of drinks. Next thing you know, you're drinking, but you're around that environment. Maybe you're not able to handle your liquor like that. Maybe you haven't drunk in a while, so you don't remember how the effect that it had on you. You know what I mean? So he appears as an angel of light. He will appear to you, to the people closest to you, because he knows that that will be the easiest way for him to get to you, right? So it says we have to be aware, and they don't sleep, like it says, unless they have causing something to fall. And it may not be that that person wants you to fall, but that spirit that is on them, because we know this is a spiritual battle. That spirit that is on them could be working through them to get you to fall, right? Let's go to Job chapter 11, verse 14. Job chapter 11. Verse 14 reads, if iniquity be in thine hand, put it far away, and let not wickedness dwell in thy tabernacle. So, if wickedness, so like if iniquity be in thine hand, put it far away, and let not wickedness dwell in thy tabernacle, because by working iniquity, you are now letting wickedness dwell in your tabernacle, because you're doing the things that's against the Most High, right? That's what it's talking about with iniquity. And that wickedness, is dwelling in your tabernacle, because now that spirit of wickedness is allowing your tabernacle, which is your body, to work out something that is against the Most High. And that's why I said, if iniquity be in thine hand, if you're thinking about working out something against the Most High, put it far from you. Put those, pray and fast if you need to, but do what you need to do to get that far away from you, so that wickedness doesn't dwell in your tabernacle. So let's go to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11. And it reads, and have no fellowship with the unfaithful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Right? And it's saying, have no fellowship with the unfaithful works of darkness, or rather reprove them, for it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. But all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light. For whatsoever doth make manifest is light. Wherefore he said, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Hamashiach shall give thee light. So, we don't even want to be involved in dealing with the fellowship of the unfruitful works of darkness, right? So the works that are unfruitful would be the works of the flesh. Let's see if I can get this. The works that would be unfruitful would be sloppy. Let's see if I can. Sloppy, 1 second. Okay. So we're gonna do Galatians 5. I'm gonna do 15 through 21. Right. It says, verse 15, Galatians chapter 5, verse 15, but if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murderings, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Right? So, let me keep going. And they that are Hamashiachs have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. Says, if we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. So, and this is why I say it must be line upon line, law upon law, precept upon precept. Because some will read this and get confused where it says, if, Salaka, but if you're led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. But Yahushua tells us that until heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle, period, or whatever, what in any way is passed from the law, until all be fulfilled, right? So, what we have to understand is that we're led by the Spirit of the Most High, but we have to eat the whole roll. We have to understand the things that were done away in the law, which we can go to, let me just go there really quick, and we get right back to Proverbs, which is Luke. You can do further research on this for yourself. This is Luke 24. And Luke 24 and 44. So 24 and 44 says, and he said unto them, Yahushua unto the disciples, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled. Because it said he came to fulfill the law, right? Yahushua. Which were written, all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me. So, the only thing that Yahushua came to fulfill were the things that were written concerning him. All of the, like, him dying being the ultimate sacrifice. Him having his garments ripped and lots cast, on his garments, and, him being pierced through the side, and, things of that nature. All the things that were prophesied to happen concerning him. But the law itself as a whole is not done away with. Just immediate judgment, sacrifice, right? Those things are done away with because those are the things that were fulfilled within Yahushua, because it tells us vengeance is Yahweh's, and there's going to be an appointed time where everyone is judged. That's why, and we're in the grace, right? We have time to get things right, so we're not judged right away, right? And just like we can go to, to Ecclesiastes, where it says, because judgment is not executed speedily, right?
According to Wikipedia, the speedy trial clause of
And that's picking up on my voice, but it tells you in Ecclesiastes, because judgment is not executed speedily, therefore it is fully set in the heart of man to do wicked, right? So these are things that we're dealing with, and we're us being under grace, and some of our people not understanding that we can go back to when we're dealing with Proverbs, not following that path, and us being a light to wake our people up, that the Most High means to be awakened from sleep. So, as far as that, there's only certain things that Yahushua came to fulfill. The law is not fully done away with. We still have to keep the commandments. We still, it's against, the law to murder, to look at another man's nakedness, which could be him or his wife. Not being covetous, not stealing, not doing unrighteous judgment, not taking bribes, all things of that nature that is outside of judging receiving judgment right away, or receiving judgment right away from the Most High, or sacrificing, right? So let's go back to Proverbs Chapter 4, verse 19. Was it says, the way of the wicked, Salakia. So 17, I believe 17, which we read for verse 16, for they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they have caused some to fall. Verse 17, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. Remember, we read this earlier, as far as the righteous go, that wisdom gives us the bread of understanding and the water of wisdom, right? So it's a difference with what our bread is and our drink compared to what the wicked is. Verse 18, but the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more until that perfect day. I'm going to go to Philippians 2 and 15. Philippians chapter 2, verse 15. That ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of the Most High, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world. Because if they see us blameless and harmless, being the true sons of the Most High, it says, Yahushua said unto the disciples that they would know that you are my disciples by the love you have among you. And, that's loving your neighbor as yourself, which goes into the law, dealing with how we deal with one another, as far as animals go, children, promises that certain brothers would have if their brother died off, as far as continuing their brother's seed, and all these types of things. So, and the just being genuine with one another, as far as caring about one another, right? So, let's go to verse 19, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 19. The way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. Let's go to Isaiah 59, 9 through 10. Isaiah 59. 9 through 10, it says, therefore is judgment far from us, neither doth justice overtake us. We wait for light, but behold obscurity, for brightness, but we walk in darkness. We grope for the wall like the blind, and we grope as if we had no eyes. We stumble at noonday as in the night. We are in desolate places as dead men. So it's the, wicked. It's talking about they know not at what they stumble, and just like I said, that would compare to us as Israel when it said, for breaking the Most High laws and commandments, which was doing wickedness, that we would be groping around as the blind in the noonday, trying to find our way. But, the Most High blesses us and gives us, grace as well as mercy to wake us up in these times as the remnant that he left behind, so that, we can be that light to the rest of the world. Go to Job 5 and 14. Job chapter 5, verse 14. Says, they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night. Grope in the noonday as in the night. Go to Job 12 and 25. Job 12, 25. Says, they grope in the dark without light, and he maketh them to stagger like a drunken man. They grope in the dark without light, and he maketh, the Most High maketh, right? The Most High puts that on people, and that's that bringing people down as well. Proverbs Chapter 4, verse 20. My son, attend to my words, incline thine ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. So keep your heart with all diligence, meaning diligently follow the Most High, because out of it are the issues of life. As a man thinketh, so is he. And you speak from the utterance of what's in your heart. So saying keep your heart, make sure that you feeding it with the right things, feeding it with these scriptures, with this understanding, wisdom and knowledge. It says, let thine eyes, so like says, put away, verse 24, put away from thee a forward mouth and perverse lips, put far from thee. And these are things going against the Most High, you know. And we can, I'll get the exact Salakia. Let's get it. A definition of fraud. It says habitually disposed to disobedience and opposition. So it's saying making a habit, you know, out of being disobedient. And the Most High say obedience is better than sacrifice, you know, so that's definitely those forward lips speaking words of disobedience, speaking against the law. And it says, in what does Scripture say? In no wise go against the law. Paraphrasing, it says, in no wise go against the law. It says, let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. Turn not to the right hand, nor to the left hand, nor to the left. Remove thy feet from evil. And I want to go to something really quick, because it says, go not to the right hand, nor to the left. Let's see if I can get this real quick. So let me see something. So it's Second Esdras, the Apocrypha, chapter 7. So, you know, last verse in verse 25 in Proverbs verse 4. 27, Salaki, it reads, turn not to the right hand, Salaki, nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. So I'm going to read this. This is a very interesting way to look at the path to the kingdom or salvation, right? I'm going to start at, I'm just going to start at verse, chapter 7, verse 2. It says, and he said unto me, up, Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, the sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case that the entrance were narrow, and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it, and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? Now, this is speaking in terms of the kingdom and the path, the narrow path that we're on. You know, it's going to get more into it, but we know that hell was expanded because of the wickedness that we did. And, you know, this path was wide before all this sinning was going on and we messed up. But now it tells you that it's a narrow path, right? All right, so verse 6 says, there is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall. Like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? So, we won't speak on that. Like, it's talking about the dangers of the trials and tribulations we go through, the dangers of this world. You could say, you know, the dangers of people hating us, you know, wanting to call us a hate group, hating us because we feel like we're special, hating us because we feel like we're privileged in the Most High's eyes, all of these things. So these are some of the dangers that are set before the kingdom that we have to go through in order to get to the inheritance. It says, verse 10, and I said, it is so. He said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion, because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of the world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. See, it was wide and sure because sin was not in existence at this time. We were not sinning, I'll say rather. We were not sinning. Sin did not become a thing until, you know, they went against what the Most High told them concerning this tree. Right? It says, for the entrances of the elder world, verse 13, for the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure. So like, I just want to make sure people know where I am. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7. At verse 13 says, for the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. So that's all I wanted to bring about that. You know, it's talking about not turning to the right or the left. You know, in Proverbs Chapter 4, verse 27, turn not to the right hand, nor to the left, remove thy foot from evil. So it's saying, stay away from the evil. These are on the right and the left hand, instead of staying on a straight path, keeping your eye single, like the scriptures say. right? If your eye is single, your whole body or spirit should be single. Um, Focusing, um, like it talks about in Psalms chapter 1. It's like about making sure that we're meditating in the scripture day and night, and that's going to keep us on that path, keep us growing, keeping us in life, right? Because say uh Baruch, right, form 1, all they that keep we will keep the law and live. You keep the law and live, right? But if you leave it, you die. So if we are saying we're going to pass by all of these things that can kill us by staying on a straight and narrow path, not going to the right or the left, where you can drown in that deep water or be burned alive in that fire, right? Or we staying single in a singleness of mind and focusing, aiming at the mark, staying focused, right, on what is ahead, then things will be good. But we must pass through these hard times. We must be purged through adversities like gold is purged through fire. As the scriptures say, you can get that real quick. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 1 says, "My son, if thou come to serve Yahweh, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end." And that's how you increase at that last end, by getting that inheritance once you pass through and go by all these perils, right? It says, "Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state." And we could say oh, things happen to us and we're lowered in life, right? But we've been changed to a lower state by breaking the commandments and having to be low, being the tail, not the head, right? It says, "For gold is tried in the fire, an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him and he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him. Ye that fear Yahweh, wait for his mercy, and go not aside lest ye fall." And go not aside to the right or the left, right? Because that's what's going to kill you, going off of the path, going off of doing your very best to keep the commandments, right? To keep the laws and commandments. So, man, I am very, very pleased with the fact that the Most High has blessed me with a way to continue to communicate with my brothers and sisters that I can't see in person, and to just share this knowledge, share the knowledge that the Most High has given me, because we are just vessels. As my brother Yahweh shall put it, this knowledge is not ours. This word is not ours. The Most High is just using us as vessels to get us to the point where we need to be in order to serve him fully, with our whole heart, mind, and everything that we have, because we are so undeserving of the things that he has given us. And when we become humble, and the Most High often has me speaking to myself, through talking to others, which I believe is good, But yeah, this is something that we all should constantly work on, is being humble, because we're never to big to be brought down. You know, we're never too far to the Most High's reach for him to put his hand on us. You know, and I believe when we realize and recognize that and know that we are specks in this grand scheme of things, that we will do better. You know, I was gonna say shalom with that, and you know, walk with Yahweh. You know, so most I bless. Shalom.